Good afternoon, it's the 24th of October and welcome to South West Londoner News. I'm Clara Davies.
And I'm Piers Spicer. Here are today's top stories. In politics, young people are speaking out against Brexit and marching in favour of a people's vote in order to have a say in the all-important question that will affect their futures the most.
And in local news, are people still celebrating Halloween or has the spooky celebration returned to the grave? Our reporters hit the streets to find out what the public think.
In sport, Millennium Babies are filling the squads of Premier League teams, but how is this impacting football as a whole?
And elsewhere in fashion, we see a new face representing Marc Jacobs and take a look back at Dior's shining history in the Victoria and Albert Museum.
But first, let's take a look at what our national newspapers are choosing as their top stories today, and how do they each present the facts?
Our reporters analyse everything from front to back. Over to the paper review team.
Hi, I'm Nicole and I'm here with my team of South West Londoner journalists and we're going to be looking at today's newspapers.
Hi, I'm Ardi.
I'm Nia.
I'm Lee.
And I'm Gabe.
The main stories that have been covering most of the pages of the front newspaper has been the blood money scandal here on the Daily Mirror. It's also mentioned in pretty much every single newspaper apart from The Guardian. It's about the fact that there's huge public discontent over the blood money that MPs have taken, up to £320,000 in lavish hotels and hospitality, including Theresa May's private secretary. I know for a fact there are two different articles in The Times.
Yes, there are two. On the front page, they focus on Trump's opinion on the business in Saudi Arabia. He calls it one of the world's worst cover-ups. And further into the article, there's another coverage, but it's from the president of Turkey's opinion.
In contrast to that, The Guardian has chosen not to cover the case at all, but to go into an exclusive they found with ITV News on rogue landlords and how they have been able to claim rent while still failing to pass a fit and proper test through housing legislation in the law. This is a loophole which they've uncovered and they're trying to debunk in pages 9 and 11.
Meghan Markle has also been featured with her dazzling baby bump on the Daily Express and in many other newspapers.
Yes, as you said, in The Guardian they've also chosen to cover the fact that she is now listed as one of the 100 most influential Black Britons. A list which celebrates Britons with influential Britons of African and African Caribbean heritage.
Okay, does anyone else have any other unique stories?
Yes, so there is the story covered only in two newspapers of the world's oldest shipwreck found. It is shown in the Daily Express. More seriously, it has a whole page and there are interviews with specialists on the Greek vessel. However, in the Times, there's a cartoon shown here, which symbolises the vessel as a metaphor for Brexit and its failures.
Okay, Gabe, would you like to tell us about sport?
Certainly. So, Ronaldo's Champions League triumph over his old team covers most of the papers, with a fantastic photo being shown here. He received a fantastic reception from the home support, with his name being sung by both sets of fans. Also covered is Manchester City's emphatic win over Shakhtar Donetsk, with Spurs also being shown with Pochettino vowing for success in their next game after their poor run of form in the Champions League.
Okay, thanks guys. Back to Clara and Piers in the studio.
Thank you for that. Up next, we join the politics team where they're discussing Theresa May's recent Brexit talks and how this will affect Britain. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Clara and Piers. I'm at the politics desk with Lee and Ardi, and we are currently discussing the fact that Theresa May has almost finished 95% of her Brexit deal.
Exactly, Nia. So following on from Theresa May's speech in the Commons on Monday, in which she claims to have completed 95% of the withdrawal agreement, there is still wide scepticism on both sides of the political stage as to whether Brexit is still the right deal for us.
Yes, so this was demonstrated last Saturday when scores of Merton residents went to march on Parliament demanding for a people's vote, which would then give them any final say on Brexit negotiations.
And several of those who marched that day were in the younger demographic, 17 to 18-year-olds, who were not able to vote in the 2016 EU referendum, but are now eligible to vote, and yet feel angry that they were not given a choice or a vote in these decisions which will affect their future greatly.
That is why I talked to a few young people to see what views they have on this. Hi, I'm with Maddie and Eleanor, and they were both too young to vote in the 2016 EU referendum, but now they're 17 and they're worried about what Brexit might do to their future. I understand you were at the People's Vote March last Saturday, where over almost 1 million people attended. What were the feelings and emotions and the general atmosphere like at the march?
It was great to have like such solidarity and like see so many young people there.
I think there's a lot of anger in the crowd as well. People really angry about like the state of the government at the moment.
Great, and what was the point of the march, and what was the outcome that you guys wanted to achieve personally?
I think the point was just to get another people's vote, more like on the terms.
Yeah, and just
kind of just express like anger at the way that it's like panned out.
Great. I'm sure you're aware that this week it's been said in the newspapers that Theresa May's almost finished 95% of her Brexit withdrawal agreement. How do you feel about this?
Afraid.
Afraid?
Yeah, for the future. And what's going to impact,
Yeah.
how it's going to impact us.
I understand that you were too young to vote in the 2016 EU referendum, so was I. How do you feel about the fact that you couldn't vote for your future? What type of impact does that have on you?
I think it's just quite unfair that people, like a lot of old people that it won't really affect, had a say in our future.
Yeah, and obviously it was won by such a small margin that like the young demographic vote will obviously have I think it will have such a great impact.
Yeah, so you think that maybe if 16 and above could have voted, similarly to the 16-year-olds in the Scottish independence referendum, if we could have voted, do you think the outcome would have been different?
Yeah, maybe it could have just swung it.
Interesting. Thank you very much for talking to me.
Welcome back to the Politics Desk. We're back with Nia again. Whilst Nia was speaking with Ella and Maddie, Lee and I went out to the streets of Wimbledon to get local opinion on Brexit, and we spoke to many 16 to 18-year-olds.
Yes, so most of the people that we spoke to acknowledged the march and said it was a good idea. They also said if they would have had the right to vote in the 2016 referendum, they would have voted Remain, and now feel a sense of resentment that they are having to live with the consequence of a Brexit they didn't vote for. Also, many of them said that they believe 75 plus or 50 plus old age people shouldn't have the right to vote because it doesn't apply to them.
Speaking of which, we also asked them how they felt Brexit was being handled currently, and we were met with quite dire opinions. One of the people we spoke to even said that the future looked quite bleak. We also asked them what they think their future would look like under the policies of Brexit, and many came up with the idea that trade was going to be much harder, and travel, which we know lots of students like to do, with it being much more difficult to obtain visas and that kind of thing.
I also took to Twitter and searched the People's Vote March. One Twitter user, James Botham, said, "If there was a second referendum, I'd happily vote Remain after voting Leave," suggesting contrasting views to the views that many had in 2016. David Lammy, Labour MP, who is pro-Remain, said, "Brexit has become like a declaration of war on ourselves. Emergency ships will be chartered for food and medicine if we leave the EU with no deal. But at least when we're using ration books and running out of drugs, we'll have taken back control." A contrasting view to this is Mark Lee, who is pro-Brexit and said, "There are no countries outside the EU, nothing works, it's like a Martian desert. There are no fast-growing economies and thriving nations to trade with. In fact, I would be surprised if there's even oxygen. Without Juncker, how will we even breathe?" One other Twitter user quoted not one word from Corbyn on the 700,000 who were on the People's Vote last weekend, maybe suggesting an absence of party leaders' views. That's all from the Politics Desk today. Back to you, Clara and Piers at the studio.
There still seems to be a lot of uncertainty over the Brexit negotiations, but the time is ticking. As we approach 2019, the pressure to finalise the deal rises.
Now, I'm sure you've seen spooky Halloween decorations, but have you bought your own? Or are you maybe ghosting the celebration this year? Our team hit the streets to see what the public thinks.
What do you think about when you hear the word Halloween? Is it children dressed up in fancy costumes, trick-or-treating from door to door, or maybe you think of pumpkins, skeletons and witches?
Established by the Celts in northern France, England and Ireland, it was used to mark the end of summer and the beginning of winter. Now it is celebrated globally and is a festive favourite in the USA.
but not so much in Britain. Is Halloween really dead? We're here at Centre Court in Wimbledon to see whether people still think Halloween is relevant.
As you may see with a lot of retailers, Christmas is a time where it booms the most. You can see for us, really, Christmas is more of a time for, event things, artisanal, creations and whatnot. It does well for us, but Halloween's really a big bang. It's what we, strive for all year round. Halloween is our Christmas, as you could say. By selling product, it can vary, definitely. It depends on what you want to be. I mean, for example, this year around we have The Nun, you have the reboot of the Halloween franchise, Michael Myers, you have Pennywise, who made a little comeback as well. So it does vary, but all year round you see the fangs, you see the blood. Everyone wants to be horrible for Halloween. It is more than relevant, definitely. I mean, as years go by, it becomes more and more relevant. As you can see, it's like more of an American-found tradition and culture. And you can see each year around, it's getting even bigger over there and even bigger over here. I would say it's ever so relevant, definitely even now. Each year gets bigger and bigger. Each year you have more horror films, you have more of these creepy pastas coming out, you have so much more different stuff. I believe Halloween is very relevant, especially at this moment, and I believe it is to grow, yes. It depends on the stores itself and what their purpose is. I mean, to be honest with us, we're a party store. We strive for Halloween. It is our biggest bang. It is the best time for us. It's our most busiest, most profitable season. Definitely, I mean, it really depends on the stores themselves. I mean, you can do Halloween clothing as well, but it really generally depends. Promotion in regards to us, does it affect us? I mean, as you can see around the centre, if it was, as it's done up, you can see there's banners around, things that get more lively. That will incentivise more of a footfall. It gets a lot more busy up that way. It really depends on the actual location. It depends where you are. I could be in the countryside right now. You might not have a big boom Halloween, whereas you're in Wimbledon. It's diverse, it's multicultural. There's a lot more to offer in such an area, in such an environment. So I believe, things like that, they make a massive impact. They have a massive influence in regards to, the actual season itself. Like I said, countryside or, a diverse area, yeah. As you can see, I mean, year by year, things are getting, bigger with Halloween. It is booming a lot more. It's getting a lot bigger. And I mean, with young people, it's even more popular it is now than it is before. You see a lot more people trick-or-treating. You see a lot more children dressed up going out. You see a lot more, as you can see, as time goes by, children are getting, I know, age-rated films, but kids are getting into the 18-rated, the 16-rated style, the horror films, the Michael Myers. It's not like how it was 5-10 years ago where people were like afraid of these things when they saw them. People, when they see them now, they're actually more interested. Children are they're less afraid of these things. And I believe these things, when they're desensitized, people would definitely go for it. Now, it's a lot more popular now with young children than it's ever been before, yes.
While some shops have chosen not to embrace the Halloween spirit, those that have found success here at Wimbledon. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you for that. I will definitely be dressing up this year. Will you be?
You won't catch me passing opportunity for free sweets.
Can't argue with that.
Now, across the field to our sports correspondents, who are now looking at Fulham's latest star.
Hi, welcome to the South West Londoner Sports Desk. I'm Gabe, and this is Rashina. If you're over 25, you're about to feel old. Ryan Sessegnon and the Millennium Babies are beginning to make their mark on the Premier League. Fulham's 18-year-old forward, Ryan Sessegnon, was born in the year 2000 and is currently playing Premier League football for Fulham Football Club. The England under-21 international slid in his first goal against Cardiff on Saturday. Ultimately, it proved insignificant as the Cottagers went on to lose 4-2. However, he became the first Millennium Baby to score in the English top flight.
We're here with Dan Barnes, Sportsbeat Deputy Editor. Hi Dan.
Hi.
Have you noticed the decreasing age of footballers in the Premier League?
Yes, I think it's something that we do see more often. I think it's there's a number of reasons for that. It can down to sort of the just how technically sound young players are nowadays with the advancements in science and coaching that they get, and I think it's quite a common theme to see players breaking through at a younger and younger age.
What is your opinion on that? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely a good thing. I mean, I think particularly, I say from one point of view, for the point of view of a supporter, it's a good thing. I think players, all supporters of all teams love seeing one of their own break through, and they instantly sort of form a bond with sort of a young player, an academy product. And yeah, I think it's obviously just, I think nowadays if you're old enough, you're good enough. And I think it's something that's can benefit teams in a lot of ways.
What effect do you think this will have on football in general?
I think that if you now look towards the top end and the older players, I think you have a lot more established pros still performing at the top level, let's say 37, 38 years old. And I also think with the way things have advanced, players are also breaking through at a younger age as well. So I think we could well see the lifespan of a footballer in the Premier League at the top level be a lot longer, and we continue to become a lot longer than it has been before.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Sessegnon is one of 8 players born this millennium to have played in the Premier League. Others include Man City's Phil Foden, Chelsea's Ethan Ampadu, and Watford's Raheem Harper. However, Sessegnon and Foden are still quite a way adrift of another young Englishman who has also made millennium-related history. Jadon Sancho became the first England international to be born in the 2000s when he made his debut against Croatia last week.
And that's all from us at the Sports Desk. Back to you in the studio.
Great, that was a lovely response from our sports team.
Elsewhere, in fashion, a new face becomes the representative of Marc Jacobs. Our fashion correspondents take a look.
Welcome to the Fashion Sofa. I'm Nicole and this is Rashina. The first thing we're going to be looking at today is Lila Moss being the new face of Marc Jacobs Beauty. She's following in her mother Kate Moss's footsteps, and at 16 has already managed to land her first modelling gig and be the face of such a huge brand.
She joined her mother's agency, and she's currently representing Marc Jacobs Beauty in its new UK retailer Harvey Nichols. Marc Jacobs announced the reveal of their partnership by announcing on Instagram. Did you see the post?
I did, and he wrote a really long message underneath the post to her parents and to Lila. And he was just basically reminiscing about when he first met her, and she was only 6 years old, and he's watched her character build and her beauty just get better and better, just like Kate. And then, did you also see the post, her makeup in it? She had a really bold purple cat eye and a really glossy nude lip, and I think Diane Kendall did the makeup.
Well, Lila's loved Marc Jacobs Beauty from a young age. She even said to Vogue, "I love his makeup, especially the bronzers. Makeup can give you confidence and make you feel better about yourself."
I agree.
She also loves his perfume. Do you know the one, Daisy? Her mum got it for her a few years ago.
I really like that one.
In other news, Dior are launching an exhibition at the V&A. It's coming this spring, and it's debuting one of the largest complete exhibitions to date in the UK based on the House of Dior. The exhibition is set to take place on February the 2nd, 2019, and it will be open in the Sainsbury Gallery. Inspiration from this exhibition is widely taken from the Christian Dior Quartier de Rêve. Do you know the exhibition that took place in Paris?
I heard about it, yeah. I know that the people who are actually planning the exhibition are making sure to feature aspects of Christian Dior's influence that he took from British culture.
Oh, and obviously Christian Dior loves the British and the royal and the aristocrats.
Yep, I heard about that one as well. And also, the show itself is going to be called Christian Dior, Designer of Dreams, and it is set to be the second largest exhibition right after the Alexander McQueen Savage Beauty one back in 2015.
After delving deep into the Dior archives, 500 items were presented at the exhibition and roughly 200 are couture garments.
Yes, I've actually seen a couple of them. They look really nice.
Including this particular exhibition, the influence of the world's leading courtiers in the 20th century, one of the main attractions that will be exhibited at the V&A will be the renowned bar suit, which Christian Dior made in his first collection from 1947. And did you know it's strongly shaped post-war fashion?
I actually learnt about that back in school.
Oh.
Princess Margaret actually wore a Christian Dior dress for her 21st birthday, and it was called the Fairy Tale Dress, which is fit for a princess. Also, in the exhibition, there will be aspects of all the private shows that the Queen Mother and Princess Margaret had the joy of seeing, really. Also, the dress worn by Charlize Theron in the J'adore advert is also going to be featured, and the 1949 Janin ball gown that Christian Dior designed himself.
Oh, the ball gown had a lot of pleats and it resembled petals. It was so nice.
I remember, it's so like sparkly and it's just every girl's dream, really.
And that's all from the Fashion Sofa.
Thank you to Nicole and Machina. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the public's response of Dior's exhibition.
And that's all for today. Thank you for tuning in to Southwest Londoner.
And special thanks to our hardworking director Amelia.
I've been Pierce Spicer.
I've been Clara Davies.
Good night.